And happy June 19th, 2021, Saturday morning. I hope you're all doing well. How many of you are here yet? If you're in the stream, please let me know over in the comments. Oh, my watch is vibrating, says it is 8 o'clock. So we got started right on time. If you're in the comments, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know how it sounds. Give me a thumbs up. Right now, I only see, it looks like two people. So people are starting to filter in. Good morning. June 19th, 2021. I hope everyone is doing well this morning. If you can hear me, let me know in the comments. Hit that thumbs up button. Let's YouTube know, let's the algorithm know that you're interested in this content. All right, folks are starting to filter into the comments. Let's take a look. 243 Aslam. Thumbs up. Good morning, Gibby. Sean, good morning, Jeffrey. CH, David Anderson. Everybody's rolling in this morning. Good morning, TN Bighorn from Nashville. Everybody is doing well. Hope everybody's got whatever their choice of beverage or whatever it is that your routine is at this time of the day. Good morning, Howard. Unky Joe, turn up your bell tone. Glad you're here this morning. Is this better? Is it better? Let me I don't want to turn this up too high. Let's see. I turn it up just a smidge. Yes, good morning. Volume is low. Let's try this again. What I don't want to do is I don't want to blow it out. All right, how's that? Is that better? Could be me being quiet as well. All right, so go ahead and post all of your networking or IT questions in the comments and we'll get to those. I think James is going to be along with us. Good morning, Richard. So you saw my last video was on this AP. This thing is fantastic. I'm going to do some testing videos. I actually have I'm working on a Wi-Fi video that I think you're all going to enjoy. I just have to get a table. I have to get a switch. I have to get some things figured out logistically. But this, we're going to do some outside testing with it. So you're going to see that, hoping to have that done this weekend. Although it is storming, there was a tornado warning at like 1:30 this morning. So weather may not cooperate. It's still supposed to be in the 90s today. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is the GWN 7630 LR. Look at the antennas on that beast. Uh, Also, if you follow me on social, what we're going to hook this up up to first, because I didn't want to run Ethernet all the way from where my equipment is, which is through the closet in my office into that back room that you've seen. Before I run an Ethernet cable from there all the way to the garage, I wanted to use Ether Magic, which people are asking about Ether Magic on my social because I posted a picture of it. And what Ether Magic is a dead Ubiquity product. It never made it out of beta, but it is Ethernet over Powerline. And so I'm using the kit that I have. I'm actually going to swap it out with my TP link at some point just to see what the speed differences are. So I've got gigabit internet. So when I do a speed test, I get between 800 megabits and a gigabit consistently. When I'm hooked into that Ether Magic in the garage, I get about top end of about 50 megabits, which I think is actually pretty impressive considering that thing's got to jump breakers and do all kinds of stuff to get a connection out to the garage. So let's go over the comments real quick. Yes, James is in the house. And if I address your comment and I butcher your name, I apologize ahead of time. Aziz asks, in the Unifi B2B bridge, do they have to be level, or can one unit be on the third floor and the other be on the first floor? So let's say that this is your first floor, and let's say that this is your third floor. So as long as they are pointed at each other like this, then you should be able to get a connection. They don't have to be necessarily level like this. They can be at different altitudes, and as long as you've got clear line of sight and a good Fresnel setup, you should be okay. Justin Kinsey is in the house. And I hope that answered your question. And Unky Joe, we are always up to answer free PBX questions. We're also up for Grand Stream UCM questions. We're also up for name a PBX, and between James and I, we can figure it out. T and Bighorn says, I spent yesterday hooking up an about golf simulator for a customer. That sounds pretty cool. Is that like a huge golf, like it's got the big screen and you hit the balls into the screen and all that? Yeah, David Anderson. So you'll find that there's a real mixed bag of folks out there when it comes to the Ethernet over power, and it is noisy, right? So they're basically taking Wi-Fi and laying it on the wire is how that kind of works. And there's a lot of people that hate it because they say it's super noisy and causes issues. Um, and it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. People who are say that they're really into networking stuff, they may hate it, but I use it where it's appropriate when we need to, and sometimes instead of drilling holes and things like that, especially if you don't need like a gigabit connection. Like if I just need a camera and an AP somewhere and we're going to do a little bit of data and a single camera, why not? I mean, it works fine. Unky Joe says it is free PBX disconnects after 15 minutes and he can set his watch to it. Yeah, James and I have run into that several times with different PBXs. He'll probably be able to hammer that out for you in just a couple minutes if I had to guess. Ian Bighorn says, yeah, it had the big wide canvas screen, has a radar detector to clock the ball speed, and then an adjustable tee box, all run through projector. That's fantastic. I'd love to take a look at that. Sean Woods is in the house. Sean, we got to get you onboarded. We all actually need to get our About Us written and get it up on the website and all that good stuff. Sean and I have been commiserating over some of the issues with Ubiquity Layer 3, which I will be sharing with you very soon. All right. So you probably saw the thumbnail. Oh, TN Bighorn says I have to be back out there first of the week to work on their cameras. So I'll get you some pictures. That'd be awesome if you could send those over. If we can share those publicly, that would be fantastic. So if you saw the thumbnail, you saw the Vault Pro from Protectly. I want to thank Protectly for sending this over. I'm going to do a video on this, but this is the box where they just came out with this, and they somebody asked, "Will my configuration work with this box?" And they said, "Well, instead of us guessing, why don't we just send you one? You do a config for it and send it." So I will be having in the next week or so, I will have this hooked up, and they are somewhat looks like they're getting some different hardware. The hardware is um, changing just a little bit. So this box is actually like a slate gray. Let's see if I can get some focus here. This box is like a slate gray. It is a fantastic piece of kit. Check this out. So over here, you've got the Protectly logo. This is where your Wi-Fi antenna would be. Here's your console, which is I can't remember if that's mini or micro USB. You got a reset button. Look at this. Look at this. USB-C, display port, two USB 3s, HDMI, power. Then this is where your other antenna would be. And the top of this, I mean, it is really a sleek looking piece of hardware. And I like this slate gray. Then on the back, we get more antennas. And then you get your 4 ports. And they moved away from labeling these LAN, WAN, Opt1, Opt2. So we're going to redo our config for that. Then you've got your 12-volt DC jack on the side. You've got a couple more access ports. Then on the bottom, you got the rubber feet, comes with the rubber feet. Then, of course, you got the VESA mount and all that good stuff. So I'll let you know what the spec on this is. Actually, I think they put it on the top of the box. I didn't want to be that guy who was like, give me the best hardware you have. So I kind of went like middle of the road with it. This one has an Intel quad core 2 gigahertz processor. Can also do 2.7 gigahertz in turbo mode. It's got 4 gigabit ports. I've got 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM, and then I got 32 gigs of storage space. So this box will definitely be getting OpenSense. And I will tell you, people run Open Sense in business all the time. We run it at colleges and stuff like that. So, yes, Open Sense gets run more than outside people's homes. It is business ready. They have some pretty large appliances, and companies are starting to buy those appliances here in the States, and we are helping them deploy those. In fact, this coming Friday, I have an appointment to help configure one of those big beefy Open Sense appliances, and it doesn't take that long to get them. They come from the Netherlands, but it only takes like 3 or 4 days to get them. So let's take a look at the comments. Jeremy's in the house. He says, "Hi, Willie. Just curious if you would use PF Sense or Open Sense in a build out for a doctor's office." I would probably use Open Sense. Tian Bighorn says, "On the free PBX problem, I had this happen when the IP address changed, and I had to go into the SIP setting and free PBX and rescan the network connection. And it could also be like there's some call timeout settings and things like that." Gibby says, "How do Grandstream SIP phones work over point to point? I'm using Cambium E PMP with excellent signal." So that is going to depend on how good your link really is, because that particular connection is going to be a half duplex connection, just like most Wi-Fi. But voice has a resiliency of 150 milliseconds before you start hearing jitter. I would just say test it out if you've got the gear. Yeah, give it a test. Morning, Ryan. Let's see. Yeah, Open Sense and Protectly is a great combination. Darcy is in the house and says, "For some reason, I was not able to log into my Cloud Key Gen 2 this morning using the admin account. I had to use my email as a user. Haven't had that um, issue before." That's interesting. So something else that's interesting that I have to check out is my Cloud Key Gen 2. I updated it. You saw a video on it a while ago. Went in, it's been sitting on the shelf. I haven't been messing with it because we're getting ready to do some Unifi videos, and the light is blinking white, and I'm like, so I need to figure out what that's about because I haven't messed with it, so I'm not sure what's going on. Ryan Sharp says, "Can I send you a photo that my boss took of an AP setup? It's hilarious." Yeah, Ryan, I think you got me on Signal. You can go ahead and send it over there, and we'll take a look at it. I do like the layout of Open Sense better. And I like that if you don't know where something is in the menu, you can search for it. They've got that little search box up there. It's fantastic. Oh, that is pretty sweet. Golf simulator based on Linux. I mean, anything that you want to run smooth, that you don't want to crash, and have all kinds of issues with. I mean, and that goes for servers and all kinds of stuff, is you're going to want to run it on Linux. Look, I love Windows, but it's got its time and its place, and it's not that. So Ryan Sharp just sent me this photo, and I'm going to try to describe this. So they have fiber from one of the local fiber providers here in Peoria, which is Stratus Networks, and Stratus is building out um, their own fiber network. Now, Stratus Networks, if you look at them online, their history is I actually used to know, like a long time ago, I used to work for a company that started out as a company called Integrated Communications, and then switched their name to DataTel Solutions because ownership changed and things like that. And one of the guys that was partners with my boss started a company called Access to Go. They blew up. They were buying long distance. They were doing, they were buying, long haul circuits and things like that. And they all used to work for the Bell companies, and so they understood how this game works, right? And it got so big, and then Access to Go got sold, and it went through. Now it's eventually ends up called Stratus Networks, and they've got their own construction company, and they are putting fiber in the ground like it's going out of style. So they've got that internet here, and then I see some sort of looks like some sort of a converter to go to POTS lines, and then I see a UDM Pro, and on top of that I see a 16 port Unifi switch, and then sitting on top of the switch is actually those like black stackable like organizers that have paper. And then behind that, there's a Mesh Pro mounted to the wall. Then above the Mesh Pro, there is some sort of a Unifi AP directly above it. And these all appear to be powered on. Ryan, correct me if that's not right. Then on the wall, so the wall is like this. So you got APs here, two APs here, and then on this wall, you've got two APs side to side. So within the space of about 4 square feet, there are four access points. Not 100% sure what's going on here, Ryan, but I think y'all might want to have a talk with them. Unless one of those APs only has the 2.4 on, one only has the 5 on, and maybe they're all on different channels, right? So maybe there's some sort of a crazy setup we don't know about these, but it was definitely something that is non-standard. Actually, hey Ryan, let me know in the comments. Can I show this on my can I show this on my phone? Can I show the picture? Are we going to get you in trouble with your boss? Um Let me know real quick because I've got it pulled up on the phone and I can just show it to the camera real quick. But that is definitely an interesting setup. Oh, we can show it. Okay, so I actually know Ryan's boss, but so I don't know if you can see that, but that is that's the setup. So why don't y'all comment in the comments about what you think about that setup. So the only thing that you see there is you see the Stratus networks. That's the only thing that's identifiable there, and that is their help number. Uh, yeah. Ryan says that's for when you want to download more Wi-Fi. So I'm sure that there's some explanation as to what is going on there, and we just don't understand it. So you might ask some questions. I don't know. That's definitely interesting. So what else do I have? So we're gonna do that. Um, I I know I've traditionally strayed away from Blue Iris, but with the deep stack integration, I'm going to try it out. So we're going to compare, and I know some other people have done videos on this where they compare like the Unifi Protect, which that video is coming against a Blue Iris, against a Rio Link, and things like that. I am going to do some in-depth long-term testing on that AI. So, yeah, Sean says, let's hope in that picture that they're doing some sort of bench testing. Yeah. Um, kind of out of left field, but does anyone set up Blue Iris for clients? I've tried Synology surveillance station and really did not like it. I've used Blue Iris for multiple locations and it's been solid. My biggest problem with Blue Iris is it is only runs on Windows. And um I don't like running my NVRs on Windows. So some of the other larger NVRs have Linux or Windows installations. And so we usually go with the Linux installation. It's just a lot easier for us to manage. Justin says, Willie, doing an office setup and considering a UDM Pro with a PoE US switch along with Yealink phones and a couple APs. Any issues to look out for? It depends. Is it just a single office, Justin? Or is it going to be multiple sites and things like that? And what made you decide to land on the Yealink phones? So it just depends. So there is a company here that I'm trying to, well, they reached out to me. So I'm trying to arrange a meeting with the owner. They are a farm and they want everything to be unified tip to stern. I did let them know that I had concerns about Unifi Talk. And we can't really talk about Unifi Talk because all the devices for Unifi Talk are in early access. So I got to be careful how much I even talk about that. Um, but I voiced my concerns about that, talked about Grandstream a little bit. But if the customer wants to go wholly Unify, well, I mean, we're going to have that conversation and talk about that. So Justin, if that's a single office, that'll probably work just fine. I don't foresee any issues with that. Ryan says, also been working on an LOL project. Finally got around to wiring my house Cat 6 with about 12 runs. I'll shoot a picture of the rack. So can I show that picture, Ryan? Do you mind? Everybody'd like to see your work, probably. So just let me know if that's okay. Unky Joe says Blue Iris works great. Just turn Windows updates off with a registry hack or run it under Windows Server 2019. Well, Unky Joe, with Linux, I can actually get services where updates don't require me to reboot. Um, but no matter whether it's Windows 19 or Windows, if that is in your network, you should be doing the updates on it. Um, and so I can't agree with you on turning off Windows updates, even if you're running it as an NVR, unless it is completely air gapped. And I can't even recommend not doing updates then. So, so Joe Trelli over at Cajoling Tech, he did a video on DeepStack. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the I'm going to plug in the uh, what am I trying to think of? It's the license plate camera reader, and we're going to do some videos on that. All right, so real quick, let's show you Ryan's house. Ryan is wiring his house. So it looks like he's got a USG 3, a little 60-watt Unifi switch, and then a Netgear switch. I don't know if that Netgear switch is unmanaged or managed. Got a Gen 1 cloud key, and then looks like a couple. Looks like he's got a Proxmox box down below there. He's got a Pi hole on it, a WireGuard VM, and then that other Z420 workstations, which, by the way, those HP Z420s were fantastic. Were fantastic workstations. Looks like he's running a Plex server called Lore the Server. That's pretty cool, Ryan. Thanks for showing that. And if you all want to show off your if you all want to show off your racks and stuff like that, you can find my email address here. You can go to williehow.com, fill out that contact form, and get in touch with me, send pictures, and we'll do a maybe this coming Friday we'll do a live stream, or I'll put together a compilation, and we'll show off racks, no matter how clean or dirty. I'll take pictures of my racks. And one of the projects that I am going to do here at home is completely rewire everything, but I'm trying to figure out where I want to home run everything to. And I'm thinking that back room where my two racks are now is probably the best place, because it's all open into the floor and things like that. And I may do like a fiber run to the attic, and then from the attic branch out from there. We'll have to see. I haven't decided yet. All right, back to the comments. Using Yealink for Microsoft 365 Teams, and I'm just more familiar with it. Gotcha. Yeah. So it was funny. We were setting up a bunch of Telnex numbers yesterday, like a couple hundred numbers over on Telnex. And I see now when you go to set up the connections for Telnex that they have Microsoft Teams session border controller set up in Telnex. James, I don't know if you noticed that or not. Good morning, Jacob Johnson. Jacob Johnson is in the house. Jacob Johnson, one of those early Windows 11 adopters. I'm going to wait until the announcement on the 24th, because I don't know what kind. I mean, I'm sure they're not going to like issue any takedown notices or things like that, but who knows what's going to change. And yeah. Unky Joe says he wasn't recommending disabling updates. He was just talking about turning them off and doing them manually. That I can get down with, because we do have a lot of servers where we manually control those updates. So I can definitely get down with that. Sean says, I'm still wiring my new closet now, but this L3 issue has slowed me down. Yeah, so there's 3 big issues with Ubiquiti Layer 3 that I'm going to show in a video. And so the other night I did spend a few hours with the client. We put the Netgear M4300 series switch in, got everything going, but then we ran into some VLAN mismatch issues with Unifi. So I'm waiting for the client to get back with me. Let me know that's done. We're going to put the switch back in, do final testing, and should be good. So, let's see here. Jacob, yeah, you're like me. You're a Linux guy at heart. Right. And that's the thing, right? So that's the joke, right? So that when you're in IT, your stuff comes last. Does that mean that like dentists have the worst teeth? I don't think so. But a lot of times when you're a mechanic, your cars, like it's that whole thing. And Jacob says he's not an early adopter, so he's trying to distance himself from Microsoft a little bit. But that's funny. Good morning, Ferris. Um, Disabling auto updates is just to avoid random reboots, and a proper Blue Iris install is where no one touches the box. I usually have the clients run the UI3. I do like the UI3 link. So I remember when somebody came out with that UI before it was like officially supported. It may not actually be the UI3, but it kind of looked like that. The UI3. Do you all remember that when you could like kind of like patch that into Blue Iris? All right, what else do we have going on here? Yeah, the net Ryan says that Netgear switch is managed, but it's still dumb until he configures it. Unky Joe and James are hashing out a free PBX disconnect problem. They'll get it here. All right. Yes. If you're in here, hit that thumbs up. Lets YouTube know that you're interested in this. The YouTube algorithm, and I'm sure that every content creator that is in the chat can attest to, the algorithm has been doing some weird things recently. Ryan says you should come hit the yard sales in Princeville. If the sun comes out, we were planning on going to the Princeville pool. Good morning, DJ Ware. Um, so Unky Joe, there is a guide, and I'm sure you've probably run into it. That there are several things that you want to do if you're running VoIP behind pfSense. So pfSense has no SIP ALG or no H323 or RTP ALG, but there are some tunables that you're going to want to mess with, like port rewriting and things like that, to have voice over IP run the best it can behind pfSense or OpenSense. So I don't know, Ryan, we've got some things to do, which is why we're early this morning. If you were with me last week, you heard that my wife's grandmother was in a pretty bad accident on the interstate. Somebody rear-ended her. She was sitting still in construction. Somebody rear-ended her at 70 miles an hour. She has a broken back, broken leg, 10 broken ribs. So we're probably going to go see grandma this morning. Ryan says you can see my house from the top of the slide. Yeah, Ryan, and that slide's not that tall over there. So that's interesting. I think that slide's probably only about 20, 25 feet tall, but it's a great pool. And some of the other public pools, so in the bigger cities, some of the pools are closed because they can't get lifeguards. It's the same problem that everybody across the country's got is getting employees right now. And so a lot of people are going to these pools in these small towns around Peoria. And one town, Chillicothe, had to limit the amount of people in the pool to 500 at a time. They've got a posted police officer. They're just having some issues. Oh yeah, Sean, I think she's going to be okay. It's just one of those things. I mean, that's, somebody that's 75, that's a hell of a recovery. For somebody that's 38, that would be a hell of a recovery. So Joe from Cajoling is in the house. We were just talking about you and your Blue Iris and your deep stack installation. So Joe, let us know about that. We're going to drive people over there. I was telling everybody that I am going to hop on the Blue Iris train again. We used to use it a long time ago and just had to switch. So we use different NVRs, and maybe I need to do a video on that to define when it is that we use different NVRs, because we don't use Synology for everything. We don't use QNAP for everything. We don't use Ubiquity for everything. I mean, we use NVRs just like any other networking equipment where it makes sense. So like with Synology, we're going to have a deployment that is spread out. We're going to have multiple NVRs and things like that. We will use Synology because we can manage all NVRs from one location, set the permissions from one location, and manage everything from one CMS. So, yeah, I think she's going to be fine. I think she's going to be good. It's just going to take some time. So I appreciate that. Good morning, Joe. So, and that was Joe McManus, not Joe or Unky Joe. Hey, fellas. All right. So, everybody say hi to Joe from Cajoling Tech. If you saw him the other night, he was wearing a purple polo shirt, which I was actually kind of digging. And I think he's going to buy a boat. And Joe, you know that boat stands for break out another 1,000, right? So, like, But with those AWS dollars, you should be fine. I know, Sean, we've got so many Joes, right? I get it. So then the conversation on the cajoling tech Zoom call the other night turned into what is your midlife crisis car? And a lot of us figured out like where our parents were at, right? So like what's midlife? And a few of us have hit midlife and are going over. And so I was like, I'm not going to buy a car. I'm probably going to buy like a single seater helicopter. And what brought that up is my son and I um, um, were driving past a farm, and this farmer was pushing his helicopter out with his four wheeler. And I was like, you know what? Makes sense. So yeah, so the deep stack integration and all that stuff. Um, I gotta see. I am going to. Oh yeah, check it out. There's my stack of hats. I'm like Unky Joe. I got hat fever going on over here. But I am going to take VMware off of this Protectly. This is that beefy i7 with 64 gigs of RAM and all that. And this is going to become my Blue Iris box. Should I run it on Windows 11? Probably not. Maybe if I can get a free copy. Somebody let me know. Can we legally run Windows 11? I don't know. But this is going to become the Blue Iris box for now for testing. And I can take it outside, stick it in a box. I'm not going to be worried about it. So what hats am I wearing? There's the Willie Howe technology hat with the awesome pin that says it's always DNS. It is always DNS. Thank you, Joe, from cajoling. I've got my Dogwood Canyon, which if you've never been to Dogwood Canyon in the Branson area is a fantastic privately run nature reserve. And then we have the Ubiquity hat. It's one thing I always ask the companies when they send me stuff is like, do you have swag? All right, back to the comments. Unky Joe says mine is the end of life crisis. Now you've got some good time left in you, Unky Joe. T and Bighorn says, "Hey Willie, do you have any options for an NVR that would be compatible with 2 megapixel cameras? I've got a customer with a buttload of these, and they want to use, and most NVRs that I find won't support. So shoot me an email on that, and let's take a look at the brand and stuff and the connectors and stuff, and we'll figure that out." Joe says, "No boat for me, just a preppy shirt." That's funny. Yeah, T and Bighorn, shoot me an email with the make and model on those. All right. Cody with Mac Telecom Networks is in the house. Unky Joe says server 2019 trial on that box. That may not be a bad idea. Might have to sign up for that. Admin engineer says I want to buy a kit helicopter and build an ultralight, but I want it to be a 2-seater. I was thinking about that. So I was thinking about getting the Mosquito, and I do want to build it. They say it takes 300 to 400 hours to put one together yourself, and or they'll build them for like $4,000. So I'm kind of up in the air. I think it's something that I'd like to do. However, a helicopter could be a risky proposition. You know, they call the thing on top that holds the blades on the Jesus nut for a reason, right? So let's see. I'd have to buy tools. I guess it's a good reason to buy some new tools. You know, torque wrenches and stuff like that. Morning, everybody. All right, over to the comments here. Yeah, I if the weather would stop raining and start cooperating, we'd be outside a lot more. The kit, it's that Mosquito. It's one of those ultralights that you were talking about. Yeah, if you send it over, we can probably figure that out. Ryan, I'll make you a deal. If I build a helicopter, I will take you for a ride, 100%. And a friend of mine owns an airport. He owns the Tri-County Regional Airport, and so I'd have to ask him if we could just store the chopper out there because I've got no real place to take off. T and Bighorn, are they all in the latest firmware? That's another. Um, yeah. So Jacob Johnson says, unless you're a god of a mechanic, don't work on your own helicopter. So what I may do is I may put it together myself and then take it to one of the aviation places and have them give it a once over. have them tighten all the bolts and stuff. Yeah. And I definitely don't want to do anything crazy. You know what I mean? For sure. All right. If there's any more questions, go ahead and get those posted. One thing that I wanted to talk about. Who in the comments can answer this for me? I know the answer, but I want to ask you, and I know that you all know this, but in marketing propaganda, there is a difference between full duplex and full duplex like performance. Go ahead and light those comments up because there is definitely a difference. All right, Ryan, have fun garage sailing. We'll talk to you soon. Interesting. I wonder if there's something weird, TN Bighorn, about those cameras where they locked them to that NVR only. I don't know. That'd be kind of weird, but it could happen. So Justin asks, Willie, with your Synology video surveillance layout, are all your NVRs a Synology box or do you run something else? Yes, my main NVR is Synology. I do have other boxes here. I've got UNVRs. I'm going to have a Blue Iris box. I actually have dedicated Hike Vision and Reolink NVRs as well. So nobody's going to put the answer to full duplex versus full duplex like. So full duplex requires 4 radios. 2 radios on each side. And if this radio is send, this one is receive. If this one is send, this one is receive. So there is a cross. That is true full duplex when you can send and receive simultaneously. Full duplex like performance only requires 2 radios and enough bandwidth that you send data really fast, and applications will know that it's not full duplex. But that's the thing, right? Full duplex requires 4 radios, not just 2, 4. So, all right, over to the comments. Unky Joe and James still hashing out a free PBX problem. Richard says, I have a GWN 7630 master with a GWN 7630 slave, and for some reason, the master sometimes factory resets itself. Any ideas? Ooh, you could have some sort of a wiring fault, some sort of a sound. That sounds like something physical that is causing that to happen. Jacob says, use Cat X cable or fiber. That's my answer. So even on fiber, well, unless you get bidirectional fiber, but when you're dealing with multiple strands and you have LC connectors on each end, you have a send and a receive, right? So they are crossing. So because you can't send and send on the same, it's it's a thing. Yeah, the Eero devices do work great. They'll pass all VLANs and all that good stuff. Brent S says, doesn't have to be symmetrical to be full duplex. What about symmetrical? It would have the same speed as half duplex like performance, right? So full duplex means you can send and receive at the same time. It doesn't guarantee the speed, so I might be negotiated on my interfaces at the physical layer at 1 gigabit, but that doesn't mean I'm going to send a gigabit of data. But full duplex means send and receive at the same time. This mug, if I turn it around, it says Access on it. Access Communications, maker of the world's best cameras with the world's best price. All right. Roger says, upgrading a system with 2 NAS units, one offsite using RTRR for backup, currently QNAP. Hear a lot of great comments about Synology. We're switching brands. So if the QNAPs are not end of life and they're not causing you any problems, I would see no reason to switch at this time. However, I've got a couple of QNAPs here, and I can't until they get some of these security issues addressed. I'm not going to do a whole series So just make sure you're doing all of the updates and making sure that your QNAP is secured properly. Admin engineer says we've load balanced for 3 asymmetrical links for full duplex using ticks on each end. Yep. Let's see. Jacob says you can send and receive on the same strand. Yeah, the bidirectional fiber. Yeah, the cork on that is definitely interesting. I was looking at maybe getting some of these with my logo on them. Joe says, I have purchased many Protectly and NetTools from your recommendations. Great products. They are great products. I need to do an updated 2021 tool network troubleshooting toolkit. And the Protectlys are great. And you're going to see that special with the new box. I forgot, what is this? Oh, yeah. That was the Ether Magic. So if you haven't seen the Ether Magic, this is the last endpoint. It came with the main switch and 3 endpoints, and I've got the switch and 2 of the endpoints deployed, and one just has a phone. And so this is the unit. Let's see if I can get some focus. Focus. So you can see it's got the new logo, but they did kill this in beta, and it works. I said like I said, I'm getting about 50 megabits of throughput from this device. They've got different ends, different plugs, and things like that. I'm thinking about doing a video on this, but I don't know if it would upset them since it is a dead product and you can't buy it. It may just really upset people. So maybe I won't do that, but we'll see. We'll see. And this had the potential to be a great product, but they had to switch. And like I said, I got some TP Link boxes over there. We're gonna try. I've got a TP Link switch here. We're really gonna start getting into some of the switching videos. I really love switching. Unky Joe says Walmart delivered 22 bottles of chlorine the other day, and I was able to get 3-inch tabs as well. We're stocked up. All right, fantastic. So we do have the Axis NVRs. I have used the Axis software that you install on Windows. So we've done that. It's on. Well, it doesn't. I will tell you that it is on the level with ExactVision. So, and their hardware, it's I don't find any reason. We are running Axis cameras with it exclusively at one site. When you buy Axis, the higher end Axis cameras, you get a license for those. But I mean, at this point, I've got no reason to recommend it over some of the other NVRs. But all right. So if you've got any other questions, now is the time to get them posted. We're going to see what else you all have here this morning. Yeah, if you didn't know, there was a huge fire at a chlorine manufacturing plant. We lost huge amounts. Plus, everybody's putting in pools, all that good stuff. And if I didn't say it yet, I want to thank you all for being here. I do really appreciate each and every one of you. And all right, so it is June 19th. I hope you all are having a great day. And if you need IT consulting, go to williehow.com, fill out that contact form, and I will be in touch, or somebody will be in touch as soon as we can. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you need IT consulting, go to williehow.com. Affiliate links are down below. You don't have to use those, but it is appreciated when you do. And as always, I want to thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.